another thrift flipping video where I take clothes that I've thrifted and give them a little makeover, a little redo, update them. One of them got a rather large makeover, but we'll get to that. All of the clothes that I'm thrift flipping today, I actually got in my last video, my like huge thrift haul thing, so if you want to see that video. So first off, we're gonna start with something very basic. The most basic thing you can do with a thrift flip, and that is crop a shirt. The first top I decided to thrift flip was this Eddie Bauer button-down plaid shirt. I originally picked this top out because of the like pastel-y lavender color, and I'm super into button-downs right now, so I just thought like, you know, I could do something to jazz up this one a little bit and it would be cute. So I decided this shirt would look best if I cropped it. I put the shirt on and I measured where I would want it to sit at my waist. I just like eyeballed it and just like kind of gauged between like the buttons, like what length I would want. And then I took it off and I put another shirt over it as a template just to make sure like that's the length that I wanted it. And then I just cut a straight line straight on the shirt and that was it. I was gonna hem the bottom, but when I cut the fabric, it didn't fray like at all. So I just decided like, maybe I'll just leave it. Okay, so that is definitely the most basic one. Don't worry, the next two have a little bit more kick to them, more spice. The next top I decided to thrift flip was this like gingham detailed like cherry white top. I originally picked this one out because I just love the little cherries on the top and the gingham details on the sleeves and the neckline. I just thought they were such cute little details. And it's also literally the softest shirt that I've ever felt in my life. I wish you guys could feel it. I know you can't, but it's so soft. So for this one, I also knew that I wanted to crop it. With this one, I basically did the same exact routine as I did with the first one, and I just put it on my body and decided where I wanted it to be cropped. And then I put another shirt on top of it as like a template, and then I just cut straight across, and voila, just a cute little cropped shirt right there. But with this one, I decided, why waste some extremely soft and perfectly good fabric? So I took the section that I had cut off from the shirt and I put it on my body and I kind of like pinned it down the side to fit where it was snug, but it wasn't like super tight. And then I took it off, fixed up the pins because they were a bit of a mess, and then I sewed down that line very crookedly. Then I cut off the excess fabric and tried it on. When I tried it on, I decided that I would hem the bottom because it kind of just looked like a jagged piece of fabric that I sewed together, which is what it is, but I didn't want it to look like that. So I hemmed up the bottom and here is the result. Somehow when I was sewing it, it ended up stretching the fabric out a little bit as I went, so it kind of ended up being like a lettuce hem vibe bottom of the shirt. Like, I didn't mean to do that, but I actually really like it. I love this one because I don't have a simple white tube top, and I feel like that's definitely a closet staple. So I'm just glad that I got to take some like scrap fabric that I was just gonna probably throw away and make it into another top. Sustainable. Okay, so now that those two or three-ish are squared away, we have honestly a very dramatic and very extra thrift flip. Last time I went thrifting, I saw these pants, and at first glance I was like, these pants are literally so horrific, like I cannot deal with them. Then when I like took away the fact that they were like these really capri length like pants, I looked at the fabric and I thought the fabric was just really beautiful. It was very vibrant, like floral pattern, and I just couldn't pass it up. I had to buy it. So basically I decided to get them just for the fabric. Then the next few days I searched on Pinterest for like some simple top ideas, like something that I could do that was like simple but like still cute and that the fabric would like go really well with, because it's a very busy fabric, so it can't be like boom in your face. Like, it needed to be like a simple kind of design, I guess, is what I was going for. I also have very minimal sewing skills, so that had to go into the equation with like what kind of shirt I decided to make, because I literally don't know how to sew. So I settled on something along the lines of this top that I found. I found a few like similar looking tops to this, and I decided like that was kind of the cut that I wanted to do. I figured I would also have enough fabric for this kind of top because it's basically just like two triangles and a rectangle and then like some straps. And it wouldn't be the most difficult thing ever, so I started my journey. First, I decided that maybe I would want to make these into some actual shorts someday, so I wanted to save the top section of the fabric to do that. I tried them on and kind of just noted in my head where the shorts would end, and then I cut off the excess fabric from both legs. And when I do this, most of the time I'll cut off one leg and then I'll fold the pants over and use that as a template for the other leg, because I feel like that makes them more symmetrical. Then I took the two like scrap leg pieces of fabric that I had and I cut them apart and I laid them out flat so I could kind of like envision like what sections of the fabric I would be taking for like what sections of the top, pretty much. Then I went and found this bra that I've literally never worn in my life, and I put it on and I decided like this would be like sort of a template piece to use for the actual bra top. Then I realized that when I was cutting out the second piece of like the boob bra top part, I didn't flip the fabric over, so I basically cut out like two right boob sections. and I had to like try to maneuver and cut around, like salvage the most of it that I could, and it turned out fine. Like they're okay. Then I took the 2 triangle pieces and then a scrap of fabric that I had and kind of like arranged them on myself to see kind of what feel I would want for the top and like to see if it would really work and to see if I liked the design. And I did. So I knew I needed to make little darts in the 2 triangle pieces to like fit my chest. And so I like looked up a bunch of YouTube videos and tried to figure out how to make a dart.
Sewing them into your garment. The legs are what creates the shape and guides you in a straight line to the...
I didn't even like put them on me as a guide though to like see where I would need the dart to like fold so that they would fit. I just did some darts. I don't know why I did this. I do know why I did this. I thought that I figured like my chest is just like a very normal, like small chest size, so I didn't need to like make anything fancy. I just figured it was like one size fits all. That's not how it works. Moving on, obviously later on that's gonna be a problem for me. Then I cut out 2 rectangle pieces of fabric that are approximately 1.5 times the length that I wanted for the top, and they're about 5 inches wide. I sewed these 2 together to make the one long bottom rectangle for the little ruffle section that I wanted to have. Now is where it got a little bit tricky for me because I had to hand gather the fabric, and there are a few different ways to do this, and I feel like I picked the hardest one. Like it looked the simplest, but like in reality it ended up being like very time consuming and tedious. But I'll tell you how I tried to do it, and I'm gonna link some videos below to show you like actually how to gather things. Some of them show the way I did and then some of them show different ways, so I'll link a few so you guys can see how to properly do it. But anyways, I set my sewing length to do a basting stitch, which basically just means you set the longest length that your sewing machine will go, and mine is 5 like increments, I don't know. And then I sewed a straight stitch all the way along the top of where I wanted it to like be gathered, you know, without back stitching. Once I finished that, I took the top thread and I kind of like tugged and like pulled on it and shimmied it down until the fabric was like gathering. And you have to just like shimmy that down both ways on the top until you get like a nice little gathered effect. Like you can do it as much or as little as you want. But while I was doing this, my thread broke on both sides. So it was like very gathered in the middle and like towards the end sections, but then like the very ends, like they weren't gathered because the thread broke, so there was like no thread. So I kind of like, while I was running it through the machine, I kind of just like tried to like ruffle it up while it would go under. Like I made it work. And then the top was starting to come together, like the tiniest amount. The next thing I needed to do was secure these like gathers in place, because right now they were just like kind of chilling with the string, like they weren't secured. So I knew I wanted to have like a little small cord in the middle, kind of where like the 2 triangle pieces attached to the ruffle, and that was what I was gonna sew the ruffle onto and the triangle pieces onto. It was like a little connector piece. So I cut out a strip of fabric about 2 inches wide and the length of the ruffle, and then I made it into a strap by folding both ends inwards and then folding it in half, so it was like all encased in itself when I would sew a straight line down it. You guys know I struggle with straps, and I've like never been able to create like a small strap like this, so this was a very big accomplishment for me. Thank you, thank you. Then I took the strip and I pinned it to either side of the top and once in the middle, just to kind of keep it in place while I was sewing. And then I just sewed a straight stitch across and attached the ruffle piece to the little strap. And at first, I didn't realize that my sewing machine was still on like the basting stitch length. That might be a problem later, but it turned out okay for now because I backstitched. Moving on. Then I finished the triangle pieces by seaming around all of the sides. Yes, they are sisters, not twins. Then all that was left to do was attach the 2 triangle pieces to the ruffle piece and then create some long straps, one to go around the back and tie, and then one to go around the neck as like a halter top type thing. Thankfully, during this last little bit of the process, my sewing machine decided to literally just quit on me. It kept showing this error message. It was like error 6. And so I looked in the sewing machine manual to like see what that was, and it said that the bobbin thread was tangled. And so I took the bobbin out and like fixed it all up. It wasn't really tangled, and then I put it back in and tried to sew again, and then like in like 5 or 6 stitches it would have the same message. And so I just like kind of turned it off, turned it back on, rethreaded it, and then like it still just kept doing that over and over. So I called my sister and I was like, what should I do? Literally took the whole sewing machine apart, like took out the bobbin, like the actual bobbin case, like I had like compressed air, and so I like compressed air sprayed all the dust out of it, and then like put everything back together like super tightly, and it still happened. Anyways, I did end up being able to like finish all the stitches with just doing it in like short increments. So we're good. That's a problem for later me to deal with. I'm gonna love that when I have to deal with it again. And now, what you all been waiting for, the final reveal. I am truly so happy with this top. Like, yes, it is messy. Yes, it is amateur. Yes, it took me much longer than it should have ever taken me. But I like actually made this top from scratch, like handmade it. And I just am so happy. It's like such a nice, wholesome feeling to have like made something that you're gonna wear and that you're like proud of. Kind of. I really fell in love with this fabric in the thrift store, and I'm just so happy that I got to like repurpose it and give it a new life in this new top. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you stick around for next week's. Bye! And then I just sewed a straight stitch across to attach the top. And then I just sewed a straight stitch atop. And then I just sewed a straight stitch across. And then I